Oh yeah, I've been busy. Welcome back, everybody. It's Mike. It's your real low dad. The biggest thing though was cleaning out the overgrowth. Talked a little bit about it in my pre-emergent spectacular. We're gonna call it that. It was a pre-emergent spectacular. Take a look at some of this stuff. The ground is completely saturated. I did not put any geotextile fabric. I have a ton of it that was actually for a special project I was working on for my front yard to use this time of year before I killed the Bermuda and replaced it with a cool season grass. I did not have any installed though in that bit down there that was up against the lawn, and that's one of the reasons why washed out KBG seed plus a ton of POA took over that spot, and I had to get all that out of there, and I thought it would be just as easy as plucking it out, and it was for a few parts of it, but I pretty much had to pull up all the rock, you're watching that right now, and clean it off. And so I thought this great idea. I was like, well, let's rinse this stuff out. I have buckets galore. So I took an old empty aerate bucket, drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom of this bad boy, and figured I'll put the rocks in there and then we'll hose things down. Started spraying the rocks. Well, I found out that you can't really put more than like what would amount to like 2 layers of rocks. Like if you were looking at like the bottom of the bucket, because the water pressure couldn't rinse anything off. Then I got lazy and dumped them, but you can see the remnants in there, the mud. And what did that do? It created a dam. As I was rinsing off that area, water started of course pooling more and more into the lawn, where it has been really all winter anyway with the amount of rain we've been having. So then I had to run and rinse and move the rocks around with a garden rake without ripping the liner to get most of the mud rinsed off. I was hoping the rain that we received Sunday night and throughout the day yesterday on Monday would be enough to rinse it all away, but it wasn't. It was only enough to just get that prodiamine watered in like a good rain should. So while I was waiting for the water to recede from the areas where it was kind of backing up into, because I inadvertently made a dam out of mud, instead of looking at the to-do list that I made early in the morning Saturday and then kind of added to it late Saturday evening, I started repurposing all of those tiny retaining wall blocks. These are just like the little like $1.10, $1.15 ones that Home Depot has. I originally had them in front of the Leland cypresses. They were like 3 to 4 levels high and it looked okay. And I had an original long time goal of I wanted that entire bottom of the hill to be rock, or the landscape block. Well, and I wanted it like 4 rows high, and that's just a lot of block. And frankly, yeah, I was like, no thanks. I already used a ton of them behind the shed. And so let me do some numbers. And I still have, it looks like I'm short, but I actually have quite a bit left buried where the trampoline used to be, because I used them, I removed them from in front of the trees to make a retaining wall for the trampoline because the ground is sloped. And that worked really well. But now I'm doing this. And I decided on doing this by looking at erosion patterns that occurred last summer and over winter, like washing the mulch away at the very base of the hill. The rainwater and water flows from, fantastic municipal planning. It eroded, a good 3 or 4, maybe 6 inches in some spots up into the hill, washing the mulch away. I was like, well, I have this edging, or I could get like some more Colmet edging or something taller there. But I was like, yeah, I have all these rocks and blocks, so we're gonna see what it looks like. I'll eventually get capstones for it and glue all those on there, and it'll look really good. The biggest concern though that I have with this guy is my greens mower, my lovely Toro Flex, and the best friends that will always be with the Toro Flex, the transport axles that I'm not taking off. So I just have to be extra vigilant when it comes to working around that area. But thankfully, the landscape blade can get me trimmed nice and tight and close down into there, out far enough to where I won't have to worry about hitting things with transport axles and sending the mower in whichever way it decides to go. Because I've done that before when the fire pit was in the middle of the yard, and I'll tell you right now, it gets your heart rate going. While I started extending the wall out, I started looking at behind the shed. I was really proud of the shoddy work I did making that retaining wall. And it's nothing fancy, I just stacked some blocks. But the curve, I was like, it didn't do what I thought it would do. And so that's actually going away. It's going to return to its original slope and grading and all that fun stuff. So I will have more than enough block to finish off what's missing between those and what I still have over there. I want to extend some down here behind the trampoline area where it goes into the fence, because just where those stack of giant rocks are, I want to put it up there. And if you look close, I don't know if you can see it, that's a red maple sapling that was growing in somewhere else. I transplanted that bad boy. We're going to see what it does, and by the time it gets big enough to affect any of my things, I'm going to be long gone. That's the plan with that for my spring preparations, and just while I was burning time. I should have been cleaning the shed so I could put all my fertilizer in there. However, I didn't do that, but hey, that's okay. There's always another day to clean the shed. Now I just need to get the my little mantis tiller out, work the magic, and define areas for my 3 other beds. And I'm possibly, I think, looking at things now, I redid this one. It's actually about 6 inches shorter. It's actually an 8-foot 2x12 now. And I repurposed some of the 2x6s. And those I think are 3 feet-ish. So, and where the other ones were 2 feet. So the beds are going to be a foot deeper, which will actually be good. I'll be able to give my plants a little bit more space. But in doing that, I think I need to dig up those guys there, and possibly a couple of those red twig dogwoods. The dogwoods shouldn't be too bad. They've only been there a couple years, but those guys have been here a couple years longer. I can't remember what they were. They're evergreen, so they would make a good, I don't know, good border for something. I have no clue, but we're gonna try to dig those guys up because I believe I'm going to need that excess space for what I have planned with the garden. So that just leaves now this corner fence area. It's coming along. I have both posts set. I use those foam in the bag post mix things. We'll see how they do. Jury's still out on whether or not I like them for this purpose. I'm sure it'll be fine. But all I have left to do, I have my vertical cross members. They're installed. I just now need to start pulling pickets off, putting them on the new wall section, and then take the gate off. I have to shrink it just a little bit, and maybe both in height and width to get everything the way it needs to be. So this is it for my backyard spring, I guess, preparedness to get the backyard ready for summer, to have the best backyard you possibly could have in the summertime. I want to say it's the best backyard you could have right now in the wintertime, but it's rather squishy. So hopefully next time we do a little backyard brouhaha, get together and update, we will have something that maybe might resemble a playhouse, or at least have a larger stack of lumber back there. The fence hopefully will be finished. I hope so. Wow, I'm dragging it out. Hopefully, everything will be progressing more, because spring's fast approaching. We're very, very close to daylight savings time, where I will be getting very productive because I'll have that extra daylight that is so, so needed. And then it'll be time to kill this and get scalping. So, it's Mike, Real Low Dad. I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you again soon.